everyone, and ask you to take your seats. We're going to go ahead and get started. Does anyone know what 67 to 54 means? That's the halftime score of the Warriors over the Pelicans, so we'll take it. I want to thank everyone for joining us here tonight and welcome you to PCA's 14th Annual National Youth Sports Awards, sponsored by Deloitte. I wanted to go ahead and welcome you to use your cell phones tonight to tweet out photos from our event, wonderful quotes you hear. You'll see on the back of your program PCA's handle @PositiveCoachUS and our hashtag for tonight, Youth Sports Awards. Also, by encouraging you to use your phones, then whenever I see anyone doing that, I'll know you're tweeting, not just checking the Warriors score. So thank you for doing that for us tonight. I'm going to do my best to keep you updated on the score. We're big fans of the Warriors here at PCA because Steve Kerr is on our National Advisory Board, and I can't really think of a rookie debut coaching better than what Steve Kerr has done this year. We know who the real head coach or the coach of the year was in the NBA this year. So as you're taking your seats, I'd love for you to turn your attention to the screens for a brief video. Roger Ricard tried to have this be the Warriors game, which we weren't quite able to make happen, but I hope you like this.
40 million youth in this country play sports. Think about a child you know. Imagine that child playing a sport. Who has the biggest influence on their sports experience? Coaches and parents. Together, they can teach goals, resiliency, integrity, and teamwork. Or they can ruin a child's experience through negativity and a win-at-all-cost mentality. That's why 70% of kids quit organized sports by age 13, because it's just not fun. What if someone could help coaches and parents keep our kids engaged in sports? There is. Positive Coaching Alliance is changing youth and high school sports. PCA works with schools and youth leagues to create a development zone. In our development zone, coaches, parents, officials, and leaders work together to develop better athletes, better people. PCA offers live workshops, online education, and award programs. To do this work, PCA needs your involvement. Help change the way youth sports are played. Help PCA develop better athletes, better people.
Thank you. My name's Tina Syer, and I'm PCA's Chief Impact Officer. Thank you. Thank you. I joke, you think you're going to tell me this podium's working now. Okay. Can you hear me now? Thank you. We persevere here. When you spend 15 years working for the same organization, eventually they let you pick your own title, and I thought Chief Impact Officer sounded pretty good, so that's what I did there. 15 years ago when I joined Jim, I was the 4th employee. We were in converted closets in Robley Gym on the Stanford campus, and to look out tonight, 15 years later, and to see the support in this room is truly overwhelming. We now have a staff of 60. We're doing more than 1,600 live workshops a year, reaching more than 2 million kids. And to go from those humble beginnings back in 2000 to where we are today is truly overwhelming and very tank-filling. What we're all doing together, and when I say that, I don't just mean the PCA staff or the National Advisory Board members or the trainers we have in the room. I mean each one of you being here tonight as a supporter of the PCA movement and a teammate. What we're doing is very important. We know that youth and high school sports can carry tremendous benefits, whether it's character development, improved grades and graduation rates, less smoking, less obesity, less teen pregnancy, higher college attendance, and even eventually higher annual earnings as adults. However, we also know that youth are leaving sports in record numbers. Overall participation in 2008 was 44.5% of the youth and high school students in this country. In 2013, it had dropped to 40%. So in 5 years, down 5%. Over the same period, certain sports took really big dips. Baseball down 14%. That's over a 5-year period. Softball down 31%. Soccer down 11%, which just shocked me in my lifetime, seeing soccer go up like this, to think that fewer kids are playing. Football down 29%. Track and field down 14%. What is happening? Kids have been asked when they quit, why are you stopping playing? Why are you quitting sports? And the number one answer, does anybody know what it is, what the kids say their number one answer? It's not fun anymore. You guys are a kind audience. It's not fun anymore. I think what this really highlighted for me is the importance of positive coaching and having a positive coach. I wanted to share just 2 pictures of my sons who are now 4 and 6 with you this evening. Zachary, who's 4, is playing on his first organized sports team this spring, and you may soon see a picture of him up there. He is. That's Zachary. Yeah. And look at, I don't know if you can quite see the smile on his face as he's playing, but one of the things that's come into sharp focus for me now at PCA is, as a parent, when you entrust your child to a coach, it's like this precious thing you're entrusting, and you really want to make sure that that joy and that smile stays on your child's face and they can stay in sports and reap the many benefits that we've talked about. I got to give some love to Nathan, too, my 6-year-old, who's also playing baseball, who's on this next slide. There's Nathan. Yeah. So with this in mind, I think the most important thing we're doing here tonight is recognizing youth and high school coaches who are doing it right, who are the models and the people that really we wish we could clone, right? We wish we could take these award winners tonight and duplicate them and have them coaching everywhere in the world, the kind of caliber and quality coaches we have. So I wanted to start by recognizing our Double Goal Coach Award winners presented by Team Snap that we have in the house tonight. So when I say your name, please stand and please stay standing so that we can recognize all of you. Now keep in mind, you're going to hear this statistic more than once tonight. This group of winners was selected from more than 2,100 nominations nationwide. More than 2,100 nominations. So coaches, get ready. Ursula Dahl, please stand. Sarah Goldie. Lawrence Trooper Johnson. Marion Jones. Laura LaCursha. Pete Laverato. Christina Leone. Darren Mai. Bart Mays. Chris Zablocki. Let's hear it for this amazing group of double goal coaches. Thank you, coaches. Now, I know that I've got such a home crowd here tonight, I may not have to define double goal coach, but I'm going to do it anyway. When PCA talks about a double goal coach, we say someone who strives to win while they're teaching life lessons, and that's what those coaches do so well. I'd now like to invite Gary Petersmeyer to join me on the stage. Gary is the chair of the National Board of Directors, and PCA is so fortunate to have his leadership. Anyone that's ever been part of a nonprofit organization knows how important it is to have an involved board, and maybe more specifically, a very involved and dedicated and passionate board chair. I can't think of anyone who does a better job than Gary in the amount of time and energy and dedication he puts into PCA. A fun fact about Gary, and tonight, we're going to have 4 former Stanford captains on the stage tonight. Gary was a 3-year starter on the Stanford men's basketball team. You see some great pictures of him right now up on the screen. Yes. He has some wonderful stories to tell about playing against some of John Wooden's teams out of UCLA. And when I talked to his sister, Wendy, about Gary, she said, "Oh, my brother, he's the Steph Curry of Stanford basketball." So I decided to go out and find these photos of Gary and find out that, yes, in fact, white men can jump. So, Gary, with that, it's up to you.
Someone must have conspired. That picture, USC guard beat me badly, and I was lucky enough to turn around and go and block the shot. I was totally out of position. We have 12 chapters around the country that are really at the forefront of what PCA is doing. Each of those chapters have board members. Many of them are here. The national board is also really important, so I'd like all of the board members from both the national and the local boards to stand up, please, and get recognized. I think it was 16 years ago, a friend of mine, Rich Kelly, Stanford basketball player, an NBA basketball player, said, "Hey, you ought to read this book. A friend of mine has written it." It was Jim Thompson's first book, Positive Coaching. My youngest at the time was 15 years old. I'd coached the kids for a number of years, and I thought I was a decent youth coach. And I kept turning page after page and saying, "Whoa, this is really good stuff. I really would like to meet Jim Thompson." So I did. I think then, as Tina said, there were 3 or 4 employees. They were in a small space in Robley Gym. And I was very taken by Jim's commitment, his concern, and just the kind of person he was. So I've really enjoyed being involved with PCA. Feel like my job is to be the chief cheerleader among the board members because there's such a dedicated group of individuals. I think 2 things come to mind as I introduce Jim. Now, these number of years later, Jim and PCA is hugely impactful, is hugely influential. And that is, I think, goes to Jim, but also the people he surrounds himself with. He listens, he cares, and I think in equal measure, besides being hugely influential, he's hugely modest. Of all the people I know who are doing the kinds of things that need to be done, I think he's the most modest about it, the most self-effacing, and maybe that's why he's going to be continue to be so influential. Jim Thompson.
Thank you, Gary, for that very, very nice introduction and for being my advisor and partner for 15 years. I want to welcome you to the National Youth Sports Awards Dinner, or we might call it the Sacred Heart Prep Parent Association. There's an incredible amount of work that goes into making an event like this a success. And I want to recognize 3 people who have gone over and above. When I read your name, would you please stand up? First, Emily Richard. Megan Subak Quinn. Megan, where are you? And then our Wonder Woman volunteer, Robin Varelis. I want to thank Deloitte for being the presenting sponsor for this dinner for the 8th year in a row. You're going to hear from Teresa Briggs in a little bit. And I also want to thank Mark Edmonds, who made this entire relationship start. Thank you. Team Snap for being the sponsor of the Double Gold Coach Award Program. And you're going to hear from Ken McDonald from Team Snap in a little bit. Liberty Mutual, longtime corporate partner of ours. Laura Brady is here from Boston. We're really proud to work with you on the Play Positive program. EID, our trusted resource for managing risk with adults who work with kids, including background checks. Steve Larson and Diana Collinson are here from EID. In addition to being a corporate sponsor of ours, EID is actually one of our seed funders for our PCA Portland office, which will be starting up soon. Startup, our technology partner, we have had for years problems getting sign-ups at our workshops. It seems like, how hard can that be? But it is really hard. You got a room of 100 people and one trainer, and you're trying to get the sheets sent around. And Startup, and Drew Payne, who is here with us tonight, helped us develop a text-to-sign-in program, which is increasing incredibly the amount of sign-ups we actually get when people go to our workshop, and it gives us the ability to respond to them immediately. This is a big deal, and I want to thank Drew. Bill Campbell. Bill Campbell is our Olympian sponsor tonight, and I heard somebody say that he was not feeling well, is not here tonight. Really sorry about that. Bill is a legend in Silicon Valley and has a special place in my heart. He's advised me and supported PCA for many years. It is great to have a coach like Bill in your corner. Those of you who know Bill understand that. U.S. Trust is one of our major Fund to Cause sponsors again this year. I want to thank PCA board member Mark Compton, who unfortunately is not able to be here tonight. Also, the Franklin and Catherine Johnson Family Foundation is our other major Fund to Cause sponsor. And I want to give a shout out to the amazing Pitch Johnson, who is also unable to be here tonight. I know many of you know Pitch. We are joined here. Gary was very nice to say nice things about me. And I'll take some credit for PCA, but really what makes it happen is the people who get involved. Many of you had a chance to see Steve Young. Steve is a huge supporter. He had an event tonight, but he came here to take pictures with many of you just because he cares about PCA so much. Other National Advisory Board members and Olympians who are here, Dusty Baker, you're going to hear a lot about and from Dusty. Why don't we do this? I've got a list of names, so why don't we wait till the end and give all of these people a big applause. Tom Beckett, who is the athletic director at Yale University. Amy Bacher, the head coach at Stanford's women's lacrosse and also on the national team coach for U.S. lacrosse. Bill Campbell, I mentioned. Brandy Chastain, who is both a World Cup champion and a gold medal Olympian soccer player. Bill Damon, yeah, okay, we can clap for Brandy. Bill Damon, who is the director of the Center on Adolescence at Stanford. Carol Dweck, author of the landmark book Mindset, who has influenced the way we work with coaches and with athletes and parents. Mark Edmonds, who I mentioned before, global lead partner for Chevron with Deloitte. Julie Foudy, also a member of the team with Brandy. If you guys, any of you were here last year, you know what a fabulous job Julie did as the interviewer for our coaches, and she agreed to do that again. Really, thank you for coming back. Dave Cavell, who is the president of the San Jose Earthquakes. Blair LaCourte, global president, Production Resource Group. Charlie Marr, who is the sports and performance psychologist for the Cleveland Indians, and who used a term that has stuck in my head ever since about mind in the moment. What great athletes need is to keep their mind in the moment, and he's got so many tools for helping to do that. Jonah Sachs, who's the CEO and co-founder of Free Range Studios and author of a terrific book called Winning the Story Wars. George Selleck, who's the director of sports for Life Educational Programs. Jerry Smith, head coach of Santa Clara Women's Soccer. Brenda Villa, a 4-time USA water polo Olympian. I already mentioned Steve Young. And then Jamie Zaninovich, who is the Deputy Commissioner and Chief Operating Officer for the Pac-12 conference. Let's give all of those National Advisory Board members a big hand. Finally, I want to recognize PCA staff and trainers are here. Would you folks all stand up? These are the people who do the gritty work on the ground. I hope nobody got hurt from my asking you to stand up. So you may remember the African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a movement to change the culture of a major institution, which is what youth sports is. We don't always remember that because youth sports is so decentralized, but it is very much a major institution that affects so many parts of our society. And but when we change youth sports, we're going to change this country. PCA has a vision of youth sports as a development zone where the goal is to develop better athletes, better people, and we are on our way to doing this. In addition to all the great people I just mentioned, we have some of the greatest academics in the country involved with PCA, Bill Damon and Carol Dweck I just mentioned. From all these people, we have learned how to get the best out of young people. Barbara Fredrickson at the University of North Carolina has shown that positivity can lead to, and this is her term, an upward spiral. Isn't that a great term? We all know what a downward spiral is. Relentless positivity can lead to an upward spiral. And with a team that's just getting better and better and better, while the teams that are bathing in negativity just can't reach their potential. Mary Fry at the University of Kansas has shown that a positive team culture where athletes are respected and valued, and here's the one I love, they believe that their coach believes in them. When an athlete believes that his or her coach believes in him or her, wow, the sky is the limit. Professor Fry's research shows that a team with a strong, positive, caring culture works harder and accomplishes more. Now, since this dinner last year, we've added our 12th chapter, which is Hawaii, and we have representatives from Hawaii here tonight. We're going to launch our PCA Los Angeles chapter with seed funding from the Los Angeles Lakers and the Galaxy next month. And our 14th chapter will be PCA Portland with seed funding from the Trailblazers and the Timbers, which will get us to 14 chapters by September. Our goal in our strategic plan is to launch 3 new chapters a year for the next 5 years, and we are on track to do that. By 2020, we will reach 20 million kids and have chapters in at least 26 cities across the U.S. If you are excited about that, if you're excited about our expanding to 26 cities and reaching 20 million kids, feel free to cheer or clap or give me an amen. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce Teresa Briggs, and I believe her son Cole is coming up with her. Teresa is Vice Chairman of Deloitte and Regional Managing Partner of its West Region. Those of you here last year remember Teresa's moving speech. Let's give her a huge welcome.
Thank you, Jim, and good evening, everyone. On behalf of all of my colleagues from Deloitte, many of whom are in the audience tonight, we're very happy to be here with you again tonight supporting PCA. I had the privilege yesterday of spending the day at the White House. Yeah, nice, huh? Participating in a summit on President Obama's Upskill initiative. Did you know that 86% of low-wage jobs are held by individuals who don't have a college degree? The Upskill initiative is focused on helping these individuals raise their game by providing them with the education and training they need to advance to a higher paying job. This will not only benefit the individual and their families, but it will also help us fill the 5 million open jobs that exist in the United States today. Deloitte is proud to also sponsor this initiative. Now, you might be saying, what does this have to do with PCA? Well, as I sat there yesterday, it struck me that PCA is part of the answer. PCA, through all of the coaches that are in the audience tonight and all across the country, focus on development, feedback, and accountability. These are all fundamental to career success, relationships, and goal achievement, and give our kids not only the tools to succeed in sports, but to succeed in life. This motivates them to stay in school, and I would call that, as Jim said, an upward spiral. I've seen firsthand how sports, and in particular coaches, shape our youth. For those of you who were here last year, and Jim mentioned it, I read a letter that a coach wrote about my son, Cole. This year, I wanted to switch the lens and have Cole tell you himself how his coaches have impacted him and how they have helped him achieve his goals both on and off the field. So Cole, come on up.
Good evening. My name is Cole Briggs. I'm 15 years old, and I am currently a freshman at St. Ignatius College Prep in San Francisco. My past years, I've had numerous coaches from all different sports, and I've been lucky enough to have had mainly all good coaches. This year was my first time experiencing high school coaching. At first, I didn't know what to expect. When I got to my first football practice, I was nervous and a little intimidated by their stature and loud instructions. For the first couple of weeks of football practice, I was timid and followed every instruction like a good little freshman should. Then one day, Coach McGuire, our head coach, sat us down before our first game. He told us that no matter what happened in this game, we needed to remember that we were a unit and a family. He told us that whenever we got tired, we needed to remember that we were fighting for our brothers to our right and for our brothers to our left. After that, we all felt the connection. Coach McGuire was not only a coach, though. He was like a second father. Our football team never did very well, but Coach McGuire never let that get to him. He was also always a supportive and always tried his best to teach us the skills we needed. But the most impressive and inspirational thing that Coach McGuire did was when he was this great coach, his dad was extremely sick. And after our worst loss of the season, his dad passed away. This devastated him and most of our team. The next week, he took a couple days off, and that was it. Even when all this was happening, he continued to be a life coach and a role model. And he always made sure that we knew he loved us no matter what. Some of the speeches he gave us on hard work and respect still run through my head in lacrosse and in school. I'll never forget Coach McGuire. He taught us about football and about life, and I respect and love him for that. Thank you.